call us Reggie Bush's Heisman because we are so bad, baby. What's poppin', chat? It's Cameron, aka C Money AZ, bringing y'all a breakdown of week 1 of our Connected Dynasty. A little explanation, a little breakdown before we actually get into the game breakdowns. We did have a few changes we had to make to it, but I'll go ahead and explain those. We did have a lot of issues trying to start the dynasty. For some reason, there was a lot of issues with starting Connected Dynasties with custom schedules, so we did have to randomize the schedules. The games that I predicted, all the non-conference ones do not exist. Also, we did have to make one team change, and we also have a new addition to the league that, thanks to a very special comment, we are now called the Delusionals Connected Dynasty. Thank you. I'll you know what? I'll include that comment on the screen right here. Thank you for that comment. I think he was making it in jest, but you know what? The guys loved it, so that's the name we're going with. But without further ado, let's get straight into the breakdown of all the games this week, show y'all what happened, and just get right into it. So starting us off, we have gameplay of Tyler's UAB Blazers. He starts off the game with a touchdown off of a play that we're going to see very often this season in the jet touch pass from 12 yards out. It's just so hard for any defense to defend that play. Next up, he punches it in to take a 21-3 lead, but his defense does let BYU make a comeback. And with 3 seconds left in the game, the Blazers attempt the hardest play in the game to nail a 30-yard kick to win week 1 in dramatic fashion. Next, we're going to jump to Ben's Rice Owls. We don't have footage for the Rice at Kennesaw State game, but Rice took care of business taking down Kennesaw 52-38. Rice did better than most of everybody else in the league with 0 turnovers to Kennesaw's 2 and outgained them by nearly 100 yards to start the season with a win. Next, to another game with no footage, we have the New Mexico Lobos playing against Big ZD's Old Dominion Monarchs. Austin's Old Dominion team didn't give the Lobos much to work with, only giving up 9 points and nearly doubling their yardage. But Austin needs to get on the practice field with these boys to get those 9 turnovers straightened up before week 2. Next up is some highlights from Jacob's Baylor Bears taking on the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. The Bears' first drive stalled, but hickory dickory, I smell some trickery. Unfortunately, their up man apparently did not, as he seemed to be unaware when the ball hit him in the chest, and the fake failed, upsetting everyone, including their coach. That was followed up by a hurry-up inside zone for a 1-yard touchdown to give the Baylor Bears a 7-3 lead. And on the very next drive, their wideout showed off his speed to burn the defense for a huge touchdown grab to extend the lead. And they ended the game with a field goal to secure the 38-14 final. We then have a few more games with no highlights available, starting with Green Eggs and Cam's Colorado State Rams taking on the Sharks of FCS Northwest. This is the first of a handful of breakdowns where the game seems to glitch on FCS team scorecards and shows them with no stats, but we can break down Cameron's. The Rams outscored the Sharks 45-24, with Cameron's team only giving up 1 turnover and putting up over 600 yards for a great day in Fort Collins. Next up, we have Krish's Arizona State Sun Devils. Krish was originally picked to have UConn, but after some issues with setting up the dynasty, like I said, it was decided that he would get a respin and ended up the offensive coordinator of Arizona State. The Sun Devils took care of business against the FCS Southeast Pandas, beating them 42-28, with Krish's boys putting up over 700 yards of total offense, but giving up 3 turnovers that let the Pandas keep the score closer than it probably should have been. We then have Wade's Bowling Green taking on number 15 Oklahoma State, and unfortunately for the Falcons, they went down to the Cowboys 42-28 on the day. The Falcons outpaced the Cowboys on total yards at 575-371, but their 5 turnovers really cost them the potential upset against the top-ranked OK State team. Next up was Jeff's Stanford squad, and let me say the fans of the Cardinal were in for a treat this week. There was no gameplay highlights submitted, but I was able to find this quick clip of how the game went down. That's right, this game was nothing short of an ass whooping, as Stanford somehow got triple digits and beat the Argonauts of FCS East 117-27. Stanford gave up 3 turnovers, but that doesn't matter when you have an astounding 1,329 total yards from scrimmage. This is a performance that I'm not sure will be topped this season. Next, we have Coach Seth's Vandy Commodores taking on the Broncos of Western Michigan. Seth was quoted before the season as saying that Vandy has never been good at football. They have never had a coach like himself. Unfortunately, that attitude did not pay off as the Broncos knocked off the Commodores 38-28. Vandy put up more than 200 yards of total offense over Western Michigan, but unfortunately gave up 5 turnovers, which really cost them. Let's hope Coach Beth can straighten those boys up, as this upcoming SEC schedule is going to be absolutely brutal. We then jump to Denton as Rhino Zombies North Mexico Mean Green hosted the Coyotes of FCS Midwest. Nick and his squad were able to take care of the Coyotes 51-21 while only putting up 452 yards and giving up 2 turnovers. I believe this was one of the lowest total yards of any team this week with one of the highest scores, showing the efficiency of the Mean Green's offense. They'll look to continue that success going into week 2. Now we have the Hoosiers of Indiana taking on FCS West. Chet's squad had no problem with this FCS school taking them down 52-20 while having a heck of a day, putting up over 800 yards of total offense and only suffering 2 turnovers on the day. Chet will have to prepare his boys for the first user game of the season against the team up next. Finally, we have the last breakdown of the week with some highlights as the FIU Panthers took on the Pandas of FCS Southeast. Panthers picked up an easy 1-yard touchdown to open the scoring of the season and take the lead 7-3. A little later in the game, they showed off some speed on the outside with a nice go route by the receiver for a 53-yard touchdown to take the 28-10 lead. And finally, to cap off the day, the Panthers ran a read option from 3 yards out to put up 70 and end the day with a score of 70-24. The next segment we have is the Week 2 Game of the Week. Each week, we will select one game to highlight for the upcoming week and get some quotes from the coach/coaches on their expectations. Since we have our first user game of the season, that is our game of the week for week 2, with the Indiana Hoosiers taking on the FIU Panthers. We reached out to Indiana's offensive coordinator, Wayne Kerr, to see what he had to say about his upcoming matchup. From the desk of Coach Kerr for immediate release, Week 1 didn't exist. Are you kidding me, FCS West? Might as well have been a spring scrimmage. This is when the real season starts. The best of the best. 2 undefeated Giants clash on Saturday night. I will give respect to the FIU Panthers. They've got a good team. But no amount of screens and trick plays are going to confuse our defense. We will focus on establishing our offensive dominance and will be victorious in this bout of Titans. Hoosier up. Next, we reached out to FIU's offensive coordinator, Barry McCockiner, to see what his expectations were for this week. Coming off our great performance in Week 1, we really have to carry that confidence and effort into this week's matchup. Indiana is no joke and will be one of our biggest tests this season. We treat every game like it's the biggest yet, and this one is no different. It doesn't matter if we are playing the Pandas or the Cream and Crimson, we will always be prepared. With that being said, I hear Coach Wanker has never taught his boys what a screen pass is, so I can't wait to run one on the opening play. Those are some pretty strong words from each coach. We will see how each game plays out. And finally, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Really means a lot that y'all tuned in. Hope y'all enjoy this content. I plan on making a lot more like this. And if you did like the video, please make sure to like and subscribe and be tuning in because we have plenty more College Football 25 content coming. So again, like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all soon. Thank you and see you.